what are we going to do anyway?
I'll stop. Good.
So after about 3 days of work, this is what I've ended up with. I put a drain like right here. That's going to be just behind the cross member, in between the cross member and the gearbox. It's pretty shallow, and we're holding just under 5 litres of active capacity, which is different from the actual capacity. So up to here, we've got 5 litres. So the standard capacity for this engine is 5.6, and we can easily get that in there and probably a little bit more if we really wanted to. Because keep in mind that when you fill up a sump, a fair portion of that liquid ends up in the engine when it's running at the time that it's running. So pretty confident in the amount of oil that we're going to hold. I really would have liked for it to be bigger, but hey, it's what you got to deal with. So as you can see, the paint is still wet, and I've just like smashed all the paint. So that was really, really good of me. I'm going to put this back in the sun, and we'll talk about the next bunch of stuff we're going to do today. So Aaron's got the wiring mostly done, and it might look like a bunch of spaghetti, but basically this comes out of the firewall, and we've got all our sensors and actuators and all that sort of stuff. We just need to add the air temp sensor to it for intake, which is going to be in relation to the loom about here. So that's all good. So the fuse box is done. That's going to sit in the engine bay. And what do we got else here? Got our coils hanging off the side there. So this is all it takes to run a 1UZ in an NA MX5, in a metric one anyway. What are they imperial ones called?
I don't know, I think they measure it in furlongs, so it's like a MF5.
Oh, right.
They use some strange unit of measurement and nothing makes sense.
Fair enough. Northern Hemisphere things, eh? Yeah, anyway, so we're almost ready to plug that wiring in. This is the connector that'll go to the chassis to give us power and activate all our relays and stuff. So as you can see, it doesn't actually take a whole lot of wires. We're using the Haltech Elite 750, and we're going to be using batched system. So yeah, that'll work fine. The exhaust is mostly done. We've got our crossover pipe coming over here. We've got another piece that just goes up the top here, and then from there that's going to go back and join on to the left-hand side header bank, the metric passenger side, and then there's going to be a V-band. We're going to take this V-band, and we're just going to plonk this V-band up here. So what we're going to end up is with a V-banded section up here, and probably the exhaust that we use for the turbo is a single 3-inch exhaust. So that's going to come under the diff, and there's going to be a flange probably about here. So the good thing about that is we'll end up with a section just like an OEM car, where we can pull that section of exhaust out, and if we need to remove the gearbox, that makes it really easy. We won't have stuff flapping in the way. So the next thing we're going to do is pull the engine, and we're going to do a big birthday on the engine and replace a bunch of seals and get the engine looking reasonably pretty and stuff like that. And then it should be ready to actually go in, and then we'll make some more progress on that. We did talk about last time about the power steering stuff. So we've got the lines rigged up. So what we did, we cut the original hard line off of the original system, and then had AN fitting welded onto it. And then we've got a flexible line that just screws on here, and that guy misses the exhaust. So this line goes all the way up here, and if you want to follow my hand, we've got a hard line that starts here and then snakes through the cross member, and then we come around the back, and we've got hard line that is lovingly bent and follows the chassis rail all the way. We go under the handbrake, and then we're up over the cross member, up over all the suspension, and then we're up to another flexible line here with an AN on it. And up in there, as everyone's seen already, there's a electric pump, the Astra pump. The return side, so that's the pressure side. So the pressure side can go up to 150 to 200 PSI, so you've got to have AN fittings on there. Now, the return line is just a flexible line, and we've taken a different way to run that. We've gone completely over the cross member, and we've come out down here, and we're just going to run that along the fuel lines, and we're going to run that to here, because one of the original hard lines that ran to the front, to the power steering cooler, we've just reconstituted it, and that line's going to come out about here. So that'll make that line attached there, and it'll make servicing the engine a lot easier as well. So while we're going through this, we may as well make some improvements at the same time. But that's pretty much it. It's pretty steady progress from here. All the chunky bits finally done. The sump was a big thing. As I said before, it's been hanging over my head for quite a while. But now that it's done, I'm well and truly stoked, and we're going to move it into the next gear kind of thing. So yeah, let's pull the engine. Explain to me what you are looking at right here.
What I'm seeing is an archaeological dig from the fucking Jurassic era. There's, oh man, this is what we're looking at here. Don't know if you want to come around this side, but we've got some that are full of liquid and some that are full of fucking iron ore dust.
How many Ks has this motor done? Stored in a shed, right, undercover?
Stored in a fucking lake.
All right.
Yep, yeah, look at this.
Ooh. Yeah. It's dry even, hey?
Yeah, that one's totally dry. Oh, this block's cooked.
Damn.
Ideal. Like
It's drier than my humour.
bits.
Bits. Well, lucky we were smart enough to inspect the block before trying to crank it, hey? Imagine trying to crank this and...
Even tastes terrible.
Wow. Who would have thought? All right, off with the other head. I guess we're going to see the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
It's improving, but yeah, that patterning is still pretty deep. It's weird.
Hey, Aaron, I know how to fix it. We'll just get another one.
Just use this one for now.
Yeah. Sweet. Now we're actually building a motor.
It's not the original plan, but...
Hey, shit happens.
So now we're in the process of building an engine.
Built?
Drilling holes into engine.
I'll just...
Servicing the oil galleries, mate.
Just
Oh, no, that's... Oh, no. Can't take the one you said.
just drill everything.
Yeah!
Oh, this is upsetting, baby Jesus.
That's how you fix the one you said, isn't it? Toilet and your fucking oil drain problems. How does that damage the end of the drill bits if I'm drilling sideways?
Mangles everything though, like mangles the flutes and. Yeah. Not how you drill things. I get yelled at a lot.
Why would they put flutes down the side if they didn't want you to use them, Aaron? Aaron, what are you doing?
I'm actually not too sure, but I'm going to wail on this thing until it goes click, and hopefully nothing breaks.
Okay. So the heads are back on, hey?
Heads are back on. It's mostly all coming together now. We've got copper head gaskets in. We've gone through, checked most of the valves to make sure that they're actually loose and moving around. It's 12:30 in the morning, and motor is now mostly a complete motor again.
Cool.
And we're looking nice and torqued.
So it's brand new motor, really?
Brand new motor.
Brand new
Built engine. Built engine in, what's that, 4 hours?
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Why do we do this?
It's not even race wars anymore. This is just done purely for the love of burnouts.
Yeah, jeez. Alright. So
That's
obviously the engine has to go back together. Water pump, cams, timing belt, all that sort of stuff. Fancy sump is hiding over there.
here somewhere.
That guy there.
Yeah.
That needs to go on as well.
Yeah.
Basically the engine needs to be put back together.
Yeah. And it's a good start.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Well, a good start would be not having to do it.
Yep. Yeah. That's what happens though when water gets in places it shouldn't go.
Yeah. Well.
Well,
Yep.
time for a beer?
Okay.
I think so.
What do we got going on here, Aaron? Just doing the flywheel bolts up?
Yeah, doing up the flywheel bolts. This is hopefully the last time the flywheel is going to come off.
Yep.
We've had to use sort of interesting stacks of original Toyota parts and our new Nissan parts. So we've kept the flex plate out of the automatic side of things so that the starter motor can engage on it properly.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the flywheel we had, the gear just didn't reach. So we've got a Nissan flywheel stacked on top of the flex plate using big long ARP bolts, and we've milled down a bush for the centre out of a bit of aluminium and copper in there, so everything sits straight. So I'm just finishing up the torques on the bolts, and hopefully we won't have to look at this again once it's all put back together.
Yeah, alright. So what clutch are we using then? That's
So this is Nissan RB30, from what I'm led to believe anyway. It's an RB30 flywheel, it's an RB30 clutch, I believe it's an ACT, just a 4-puck job that we're putting in there.
Yep.
That's going on the back of the Nissan gearbox. Adds has modified all of the throw out, which we can have a look at in just a second, and you'll see how it all actuates as it goes together. But this is a tested method on another friend of ours' car that was running a very similar setup to this. So fingers crossed it all goes together and does what we're hoping.
Nice. What have we got happening here, Aaron?
Just putting on the shifter bracket that we've sort of taken the stock one, cut it, shortened it, and set it up so that it'll reach our also shortened yoke in here.
Yeah.
So that'll probably need to go on before we put the gearbox up in the car.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
this was all flappy before, right? And attached to the car about here or something.
Yeah, it had some strange rubber bushes in here, and yeah, it was all very loose and mobile. So we've sort of secured that now, and that should sit exactly where the factory hole is in the body, so we don't need to cut or modify anything there.
Yeah, right.
Should look pretty standard.
Okay.
Knock this on.
It's good. There
Yeah,
it is.
fits perfect.
Like, just here. The clutch bracket we just put on. Nice. All right. Let's throw the box on and put some juice in, mate. So now that we've sorted the clutch situation out, I've got the Navara tail shaft, and you would have seen last time we adapted the pinion flange on the diff to suit the Navara yoke and the Navara uni. So we've replaced the uni joint in the back of it there, and now we've got a greasable one that's tough and will take all of the punishment that even the 1UZ can push out, all 200 horsepower of it.
Oh, 205.
So I've cut the tail shaft to length, and we've put it on the end of the uni here, and all I did was cut the old shaft off so that it will fit over the plug for the uni. And I've just set up the dial gauge here, and the dial gauge is to a fixed point on the body here, and what that's going to tell me is how much what's called run out is in the tail shaft. And ideally we want 0 run out in the tail shaft. We're going to get as close as we possibly can because, you know, we're trying to do this in the backyard, but pretty sure we can get it close. So if we look at the gauge here, so I've marked like an index point on here where we're going to start off from, and if I turn the tail shaft by using the end, you can see that where that needle moves is showing us a deflection of the tail shaft, and basically the closer it gets there, so it just hits 0. So maybe let's go this way, that's nice and smooth, right? So we go from there all the way over to the other side. See we're hitting low spots there. So let's set our 0 point to about there, where I reckon it was going down to. So what we're going to do is adjust the tail shaft until it basically rides on 0. So 0 point there. So we want to get it as close to in the middle of those as possible. So that's when the tail shaft is moving further away, and this is where it's moving towards the dial gauge. Alright, so if we go where it's moving further away, and then we give it a bit of a tap with a thing, let's get our adjustment device, and we just go over here, and what we want to do is knock it in there, because there's misalignment, towards the dial gauge. It's obviously going to move the dial gauge, but what we want is for it to have less deflection as possible. So it's obviously moved away. So we've got more. Alright, so there, so we're talking about 0.4 of a millimeter right there. So we want to just keep tapping on that and give it a bit of adjustment until it's ideally that needle doesn't move around. So it's okay that I'm resetting this every time because consistency about the measurement is the more important thing. So we're getting about the same, so I'm not really doing anything.
Balanced. Right, start of another day in at the shed. Trying to knock a few things off that list behind us there. And it's all looking pretty good right now. So we've got a bit of action happening on a cooling system. Sort of, how's that going, Ads?
Yeah, it's pretty good. So we've replaced out the radiator. We were going to use the AW11 radiator, which actually fits in between the chassis. But it's a bit too thin, so we stumbled across this other radiator which is like about 400 millimeters thick, but it actually fits really, really well. The main aim with the cooling system was to fit the radiator under the support panel so that we've got rooms for fans behind, so we can put a big shroud and get a lot of airflow. We want to push the airflow around the side of the engine and into towards the wheels and stuff. But we can't fit a massive radiator because we've put the engine so far forward because of the other restrictions that we've got. So we're just working with what we've got. The main restriction with getting the engine back is the headers. Because we wanted the engine down and we wanted the bonnet to close, which is why I made the sump in the first place, we can't lift the engine up to the point where it clears the steering shaft. So the header for, what is this one? 1357. Comes very, very, very close to the steering shaft as you've seen before. So yeah, in order to avoid that, we just pull the motor forward a little bit. It's still halfway between the struts, and you know, we would like it all the way back, but hey, this is what we're dealing with. And even if you look here how close it is to the clutch master cylinder, like this is the amount of clearance we've got here. So we're kind of dictated by a lot of stuff that's going on without modifying every single thing on the car. And because in Australia they get upset if you change a lot of things, so we want to engineer this car, like get it road legal and approved, and in Australia that's a very hard thing to do. So we're working within the guidelines of what our regulations are, and producing something that could be very factory sort of fitment. But yeah, it's going really well so far. I've just made the top bracket for the radiator, and I'm just going to make another one for underneath. So we're basically going to cradle the radiator, yeah, that's about it. So we've done the alternator as well. So we've gone away from all the other accessories because we have power steering in the boot, and basically pivoting the alternator from the bottom, and I've made a bit of a 10 permanent tensioner here using a bit of another alternator tensioner and another alternator tensioner and a random bolt and a head bolt off a 4K Toyota 4KC.
It's made out of garbage.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing's garbage anyway. It's a rotten banana. So yeah, that'll work really well. So once I've done the radiator, I'm going to start to fix up the header for the passenger side on a metric vehicle, and yeah, then we're going to go from there. And hopefully, we're very, very close to having a test fire. I'm stoked. Yeah, we're getting very, very close on this one, like right now. So then there's going to be the bleeding hoses as well. So we're not going to run a traditional like heater system. We're going to use this header tank over here and put lines into that and modify the system so it's not an overflow. It'll be a header tank type system, which will be better for circulation, better for bleeding, just better overall. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Oh yeah, the fuel system's done as well. So we just use like banjo fittings with barbs. This one's the supplier side, and just on the return we've just got a barb on there, and the lines just go directly to the original hoses, like pipes. Yeah, for the MX5, and the cover should go straight on top, and it's very clean. No hard lines going everywhere. So yeah, it's really neat, and I'm stoked about that. Most of the electrical's done as well now at this point. Yeah, and Aaron's just doing the power steering pump wiring, which sounds weird, in the boot, which also sounds weird.
Yeah. Everything about this car's weird, man.
Yeah, so some of this has been rewired as well. Aaron number 2 has come here, and we've put new starter relay and fan relays and stuff like that, because the factory wiring is a bit anemic, and we want to be able to get a bit more out of the fans. So the easiest way to get more out of a fan or any electrical device is to upgrade the wiring to it. You'll see it with fuel pumps done all the time. So yeah, they'll make an improvement in the fan efficiency. I'm going to try and use the old fans off the old setup, but we're hoping it'll work, but it may not work. It doesn't. I don't know. I've got to get the shit in there first.
Something will happen.
Yeah.
It'll just generally be in there.
Yeah. I mean, you can see, like, if I put my fist down there, I'm a standard man-size hand, and I put my fist in there, there's quite a lot of room. Maybe if I get a universal measuring device and put it down there, you'll actually be able to see how much room we've got to the radiator. So about 134 metrics, which is quite a lot of room.
It's about the same size as one of these boys. Look at that.
Yeah, there's a standardised unit of measurement in Australia. Can.
If you're a cop, that would be legal.
So we've got our 10 permanent radiator lower mount. The radiator we got has these little like L brackets on the bottom of it. And honestly, until we figure out a better way of doing it, which is probably never, I'm just going to use this. So this just slots in, and the slots that are cut in the bar, I made them a bit bigger so that we could fit rubber insulator in there, which is probably never going to happen either. So that just, yeah, there, like that.
Something like that.
Like, and that. Got one that goes in there, and another one that goes in the other side here. Go in. It did. Come on. Yeah. Just it goes in. Trust me.
Yeah, so it looks like that did pressurise the lines.
Yeah.
It sucked a lot of boot juice in. It's difficult.
It's winding up.
Yeah. That feels so good.
Yeah.
That's
Feels pretty manual still, eh?
yeah. It actually feels nicer than the original pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's success.
Huh.
Sure.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, skids. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay, so it's about time to sort of commission this ECU, and you can see I've got the timing light out here, and it's one of the tools that you're going to need to set up an ECU. So we're running a Haltech Elite 750, which was actually the ECU on the motor that was in this previously, the 4-cylinder 1.8 turbo. So we've wired it to configure it to run as batch, so 4 and 4 cylinders. So the ECU fires 2 coils, 2 injectors, that kind of thing. So it's more than capable of running this motor, and it'll run smooth and stuff like that. But the first thing you need to do is to set up the ECU, and one of the really important things to do is index the timing. I've done a bit of a key cycle in this, and I've confirmed that the ECU actually turns on, and I'm just going to flash the ECU file, and we'll run through setting up the trigger to index the timing. So what indexing the timing means is that we programmed the ECU, the numbers in the ECU, to directly point at whichever number we want. So if I want to point it at 0, I'll set what's called the timing offset, which is the trigger down here. And so the ECU numbers reflect what the numbers are at the actual engine. It doesn't actually mean anything, but it's so that we can translate as humans what is actually going on inside there and whether the numbers make sense. So we could have an arbitrary number like 242 degrees of timing on the ECU, but physically it could only be 16 degrees. So we index those together to make sure that we have an understanding when we're tuning or setting it up that the right thing is actually happening inside the engine. So let's go ahead and do that. So next we'll come over to the computer and we'll do some configuration. Let's have a look. So what we've got is our trigger system. We have 1UZ, reluctor, rising, ground reference. We have our ignition system, we're wasted spark, falling edge, a fuel system. We can disable the injectors here. We're looking at injection to the end, and we're number of outputs 4, semi-sequential. So we're set up for a 1UZ. So you saw us set up a power steering pump. So if I go to generic outputs, I've got one assigned to power steering pump. So we've got it set on state and conditions. So what I've done is set up a condition so that the RPM greater than 500, which is more than cranking and less than running, will enable the power steering pump, the electric one that you guys saw in the boot that supplies the boot juice to the front. And so that means that under cranking, the pump won't be drawing any power, but when it's running, the pump will fire up, pressurize the system, then we'll have power steering within about half a second. So, most of us car enthusiasts, we fire up the car and we let it sit, engage the gear. Oh man, you'll have power steering way before that. So we can also go in here and see what DPO we're assigned to. So basically this activates the boot juice relay in the boot to supply the juice from the boot, which is the boot juice to the front thing for the turny bit. So the next thing we want to do is go to our Haltech menu and check our trigger arming. So we've got a very low voltage for trigger arming, and we want to go to find, I cannot find it, we can just search in this guy here, looking for our TD offset angle. Here's our trigger system. So right down here we've got our TDC offset angle. I might try and zoom in on that. So this number here is the one that we change to change the 0 index point at the crank pulley. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rig up a little bit of a Lone Wolf 4000, and so I can trigger the starter motor from inside the engine bay, and we'll see where this 100 is, and then we'll change the number and see where the mark is again and try and get that on 0.
We're down here at WTF Auto with Tristan and getting the car in the dyno and see sort of what it's going to do. What do you reckon is going to be the outcome today?
Hopefully 180 or more horsepower.
Something along those lines.
Something along those lines. It's going to make some daunting noises.
That's
what I'm looking forward to.
All it needs to do. It's pretty much a stock motor, so as long as it doesn't do anything we don't want it to do, daunt noises and some power will be fine.
No pistons on the floor.
Hopefully not. Not this time, not another repeated race wars. Let's do it.
All right, let's get it done. Well, some cars make more power after a cool off, some make less. Unfortunately, this is the less one. You can see it's actually going up a little bit every single run. So if it gave it another 10 or 15 power runs, then I guess it'd get back up to that 221. What this basically tells you is you should do burnouts and donuts before every single run on the track, just to get it up to peak power.
Bets?
Now I reckon,
I'm at 1,021.
yeah, 1,025.
25? 1,021?
1111.
What?
Really?
Wow. Where's our bias? Wow. 45-50 split, hey?
That's left, right.
Left, right. So what's the front to back?
That's front, back.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so yeah, the 45 is the front, back. 50 is left, right.
So, yeah, 50-45. So all those people that are like, oh my God, it's a lead-tipped arrow, bro.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the 50-50 battery balance, but it's not.
Yeah. Nah.
Well, because you put power steering in the boot and shit. That does
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
And that giant battery.
So it's
You see this battery?
So it's 150 kilos heavier than a slot car.